this is John Carrington with Ion Baltimore, and I'm here with Mr. Roswell Encina, who is the Director of Communications for the Pratt Free Library. Mr. Encina, you have a big job, sir, and I'm going to applaud you right now.
Oh, God, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
What are you doing to get the word out about what a wonderful place the Pratt is?
Yeah, the best thing is the Pratt Library and all libraries across the nation, we're such an easy sell. People don't realize that every great library, like the city of Baltimore, deserves a great library system. And the Pratt Library, I'm glad, is delivering that. We need to remind them the resources, or the free resources that's available here at the Pratt. I mean, we're not just, concerning the books that everybody knows that we have, and the DVDs and the CDs. People know all about that. People need to realize that there's more to the library than, what they know about, that they remember since they were a kid. Dr. Hayden usually says it's not your grandmother's library anymore, but, she's still welcome. But, we try to spread the word that, there's ebooks available, if you have an iPad or you have a Kindle or you have a Nook, you could download ebooks on your gadget and download like a Harry Potter book or whatever top seller book there is. And the best part of it is like after 3 weeks, it will just disappear from your gadget, so you'll never have to pay the fine. And you also could renew it from there too. So we're embracing the future when it comes to it. Because the number one question we always get is what's going to happen to the library? In this era of ebooks and e-readers, and instead of us, staying away from it, we decided to embrace it.
We've interviewed you before, sir, and you made a lot of big promises. What have you done to follow up on those promises?
Well, we're very proud of all the work that we've done here at the Pratt Library. Several years ago, it was probably like maybe 2007, the last time we spoke. That's when, it was like the dawn of social media happening, not only here in Baltimore, of course, but across the world. So since then, it started off as just with simple email blasts that everybody receives via email. Then, we're big on social media now with Facebook and Twitter and Flickr and Foursquare and all these other things. But we've discovered it is a new way to reaching out to our patrons. We consider it like the next generation of our telephone reference system. Aside from us tweeting and putting updates on Facebook of what's happening at the library, we want to engage with our patrons more. So we ask them ask us anything, ask us on Twitter, ask us on Facebook. We try to give them a response immediately. Another thing we like to do is we try to ask our patrons, what are you reading now? So then let's say they tell us they're reading 50 Shades of Grey, per se. Librarians will, when you're done reading that book, you could read this book if that's what you're interested in. So we try to really be more engaging. I know we're holding this title now that we're very proud of. Some librarian in Singapore compiled a list of the top influential libraries on Twitter around the world, and we came in at number 6, which I'm very proud about. Because the first couple ones were the Library of Congress, obviously, and the New York Public Library, and some libraries in England. But us holding up the number 6 spot kind of gave us a big pat on the back.
Wow, that is terrific. What is it that the baby boomers who are at that age where they're retiring, going to have more time to read, what is it that you use to reach out to that particular target audience?
Well, now we discovered people tend to go to the library when they were little, when their parents brought them, throughout middle school and high school and college, but they tend to stop after college and they don't come back until they have their own kids and start that cycle all over again, which is a good thing, obviously. But there's that big gap there between their 20s, 30s, and maybe even early 40s of how do we get them back into the library. So we tried different ways, obviously, considering through social media, but that's also the genesis of our young professionals group, friends group called the Pratt Contemporaries, which their ultimate goal is to bring folks in their 20s and 30s back into the library and rediscover that there's more to the library than just books. That's why the Pratt Contemporaries, they go through these very innovative programs, so trying to get these 20-somethings and 30-somethings back. Just a couple of weeks ago, they had their big gala, which is the Black and White Party. Every year there's a literary theme to it, but it's always black and white. This year it's the most successful one. It was sold out 3 weeks before the event. It's pretty much a big dance party for these folks in their 20s and 30s. And the number one comment we get is when they walk in, say, gosh, I haven't been here since I was a kid, or I've never been in here. And we were like, what do you think this building's been doing standing there? But they have other fun programs. We had a trivia night. We also have a series called Eat, Drink, and Read. We discovered, I have to say, that the key to getting these young folks back into the library is, with some booze. So,
libation.
That's fine. No, it's the truth. But we tell them, we partner with a lot of the restaurants and folks in the city and bars. Like the first program, we partnered with Dogwood. He's very philanthropic and he's very civic minded on how to help give back to Baltimore. So the chef there was able to do a cooking demonstration and talk about how the library's impacted his life. The second was the bartender at B&O Brasserie. He's an award-winning mixologist, so he partnered cocktails with books. Like, say, if you're part of a book club, you're reading this book, here's a little cocktail you guys could be drinking while you're reading that book. And the last one was Volker Stewart, who owns Brewer's Art on Charles Street. He used to be a librarian, so he did beers and books. The same concept, Here's if it's wintertime and you're reading this book, here's a beer you could drink along with that too. So we've been having some very gracious partners who's helped they understand the goal of the library, and we'll do anything innovative to hopefully get these folks back in here.
Very creative. I gotta hand it to you. I didn't think of beers and books. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back with more of Eye on Baltimore.
I'm nuts about downtown Baltimore's West Side. Hello, I'm John Waters, and I'm proud to say that Baltimore has always been my home. It's the inspiration behind all my films, including Hairspray, Crybaby, Serial Mom, and A Dirty Shame. Let me tell you, there are not a more eccentric, monumental, eclectic, intriguing, and character-filled 28 blocks anywhere in the world, and I'm here to prove it to you. This is where Babe Ruth was born. They tell me he's the best baseball player ever. Not that I'd know. I'm more into theater. Like nearby Arena Players, the nation's longest continuously running African-American community theater. I'm also a big fan of Century-Old Antique Row, where New York dealers come to buy and later mark up their purchases sky high for their Manhattan buyers. On that same block sits the U.B. Blake National Jazz Institute, housing memorabilia from Baltimore jazz greats like Billie Holiday and, of course, U.B. himself. The West Side is also where the Maryland Historical Society calls home, with its many Baltimore artifacts, including the original manuscript of the Star-Spangled Banner and Nipper, the RCA dog. Oh, and the National Dentistry Museum, the only one of its kind in the U.S., is where George Washington's dentures live. And no, they were never wooden. And right in the middle of it all, as if just to add mystery and intrigue, sits the gravesite of Edgar Allan Poe, my kind of guy. Sometimes I go there to meditate. Now, the thing that defines Baltimore for many people around the world is right here also, our sports franchises, the Orioles and the Ravens, two birds that nest in the West. The Walters Art Museum is also known internationally, featuring an interactive experience exploring 55 centuries of art. A man named Gustav Krug worked at an ironworks foundry on Saratoga Street on the west side way back in 1810, and it's still a working ironworks foundry today. 6th-generation Krugs still work here. In Baltimore, we find a good place, we like to stick with it. Now contrast that with one of the world's most advanced operating room facilities just a couple blocks away at the University of Maryland Medical System. Get ill, get fixed, have an operation in high style. Know of a place where the Beatles, Al Roker, Mother Teresa, and P.T. Barnum all hung out? I'll tell you, the west side of downtown Baltimore. Al Roker? He's done live shows at the world-famous Lexington Market, where you can shuck oysters and see some of the most amazing hairdos in town. The Beatles, Pavarotti, U2, you name them. They have played what used to be called the Civic Center, but is now called the First Mariner Arena. Aren't we grand? Mother Teresa, the Pope, and many presidents have all visited the Basilica of the Assumption, the first Roman Catholic cathedral in the United States. Photo ops, I assume. And as for P.T. Barnum, he, along with the likes of Cab Calloway, Chick Webb, Milton Berle, and a young, debuting Frank Sinatra, all performed at the world-famous Hippodrome Theater, one of the true cornerstones of the West Side. I saw Cleopatra there, and even shot parts of Cecil B. Demented outside before they fixed it up. The real story today, however, is how all that energy is coming back to the West Side, bigger, smarter, more fragrant, and more exciting than ever before. Major traveling Broadway shows like Phantom of the Opera and Disney's The Lion King, as well as events such as Russell Simmons' Deaf Poetry Jam and local community events now perform in Baltimore for the first time thanks to the Hippodrome Theater at the Franz Marek Performing Arts Center. The world-renowned University of Maryland has broken ground on a state-of-the-art biopark that puts the West Side on the global map as a major biotechnology hub. The Stewart's Building, once a thriving department store, is the very definition of an environmental-friendly green building. And don't let the facade fool you. This office and retail space is wired with the most high-tech, broadband infrastructure technology imaginable. And a luxury apartment building known as the Atrium at Market Center even has a direct connection to the university's main network. There are so many ongoing projects like Market Center West residential units, University of Maryland housing, plus an important redevelopment of an area called the Superblock, where local small business owners have been invited to partner with public and private entities to upgrade their properties. Everyone is playing a role in the renaissance of the West Side. Many major players have come to bat in this more than $1 billion revitalization of downtown's West Side, like Bank of America, who believes so much in this endeavor that it bought an entire city block to renovate and erect a mixed-use development called Centerpoint, offering nearly 400 residential units and 35,000 square feet of retail space. It's the total commitment of Governor Robert Ehrlich, Mayor Martin O'Malley, and all the legislators, along with the Baltimore Development Corporation and the 40-plus members of West Side Renaissance, led by Peter Angelos, that are ensuring the success of what the New York Times calls the largest revitalization plan of its kind in the country. And it's all happening in this one neighborhood called downtown Baltimore's West Side. Infectious, fashionable, full of vim and Baltimore vigor, I walk the West Side streets these days in amazement at what it's become. I'm nuts about downtown Baltimore's West Side. You will be, too.
I'm John Carrington, and I'm talking to Mr. Roswell Encina, and he's Director of Communications for the Enoch Pratt Library. And I just want to ask you about your special programs. Get Loose with Mother Goose. And
It's called Mother Goose Baby Steps.
Whatever.
It's a very interactive kind of story time for toddlers. People love it. There's mothers and fathers and nannies and babysitters bring the little ones to not only here to the Central Library because it's going on at all our 21 locations, and they look forward to it. They find their favorite librarian who they love. They usually, if they know they're not that librarian's not going to be at that branch, they'll even follow them to the other branches. But I could guarantee that all our Pratt staff, they're very good at what they do. So you could go to any Pratt location and all the kids love it. As for teens, it's amazing, and I still discover this of the programs that we have for teens. We have the usual teen programs, like storytelling, but we have more innovative ones like Wii, the video game. We have Wii Wednesdays at certain branches where we invite the kids to come over. It's better to play in a safe environment like a library, and they can play the video game, the Wii game. And we have other fun little programs for teens, like from acting workshops to songwriting workshops, and they're all free, and that we couldn't stress that enough.
all righty. Any other special programs? Do you have anything for baby boomers?
Oh yes, and not that I'm saying that baby boomers are aging, but we do have a lot of programs. That cause that is the number one question we do get is like how anything about health related issues, from diabetes obviously to heart disease. But we have those available for them. We have a special partnership with Health Department and other nonprofits and other institutions in the city that helps them, maneuver through these little issues. And it's tax season as well. We partnered with Baltimore Cash, who helps folks who are actually at the Central Library regularly to help people with their taxes for free as well.
What is your most popular service?
I believe right now it's the computers. If you see, and it's not only here at the Central Library, go to any branch, there are a line of people waiting to rush in to get on the computer system. It's very sobering. There was a study done several years ago, and it said something like between 30 and 40% of Baltimoreans have no computer access at home. When most of us can just whip out our phone or whip out our tablets, can check our email that way, there's still a huge part of the population of the city that still depend on the Pratt Library just to check email, just to check their Facebook status update. So we're glad that, we're here to help them on that. It's amazing to see how many people still walk in and, the simple task of just checking their email, they have to come to the library for.
Well, that's vital. I mean, what the median income for Baltimore City is $56,000, and actually, the average income for Baltimore City is about 56,000, but the median income, where the average person falls, about 36,000. So the money's not there, the resources are not there to maybe have the home computing.
And we're glad, that we're here, that we could help them. They don't have to come to the Central Library. They could go to our Pennsylvania Avenue branch or our Clifton branch. They all have these. One thing is, especially when you're applying for a job nowadays, most of them, you have to do it online. So from McDonald's to McDonnell Douglas, you actually have to come and do it on a computer. But if you don't have a computer at home, what do? So we encourage them to come here, and not only will we provide you with a computer, obviously, but we'll provide you with staff members that can help you. Like if you have questions on how to type up your resume, they're there.
Well, if somebody needed access to a computer, there is a number on the screen that can be used for that purpose.
They can call that number, or check out our website at prattlibrary.org.
All right, please repeat that.
It's just www.prattlibrary.org. It will have all the information about the Pratt Library, including locations and times.
Okay, so if you need information, you can call the number that's on the screen or go on the website, and you'll get the extra information to help you to gain access to the computers at the Enoch Pratt Library. I'm curious, you look like you're from Baltimore, but again, there's always that chance that you're not. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Virginia's home, but I consider Baltimore as my adopted home now. I'm very proud of the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland. We love it so much now. I'm rooting for the Ravens and the Orioles. Like actually during the Super Bowl, the Pratt Library and the San Francisco Public Library, we had a Super Bowl bet. Like whoever won, they had to do something. So this is what we decided on. If the Ravens won, which we did obviously, the city librarian or their director had to wear a Ravens jersey and recite the Raven in the atrium of their main library. So they were very gracious. They were very good sports about it. They did. Not only did he do it in the Ravens jersey, he read the Raven. Then staff members started coming in. Before it was all said and done, there were probably like 20 of them. They were reciting the Raven along with them. So they were really good sports. If we lost, we were very confident that was not going to happen. Dr. Hayden had to wear a 49ers jersey as well and recite a poem about San Francisco in the main hall of the Central Library.
Okay, well, that's wonderful that we won.
Exactly.
More publicity for Baltimore.
And they were very good sports about it. And they're even going to send us the jersey that their city librarian wore, and hopefully we can auction it off and
Okay, can we get some of the Ravens coming down to the library?
Between the Ravens and the Ravens players and the Orioles players, they've been great partners to us as well. We have this ongoing campaign we call Get Carded, where we get local celebrities hold this ginormous library card. So the folks at the Ravens even had Ray Rice hold it, Joe Flacco hold it. With Orioles, they had Adam Jones hold it, and even Cal Ripken Jr. held it. So these folks have all been great supporters of the Pratt Library.
Okay, if you get Jacoby Jones to hold it, I think we've pretty much got the people who are the key people.
Hopefully it'll be the next one.
All right. Your funniest moment?
There's a lot of fun moments going on here. There was one time we did a program with the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. They were had a little program for the kids downstairs. So they forced me to play along with the clowns and stuff. So the kids got a good kick out of it.
Were you the butt of the joke?
Of course.
They really clowned around, didn't they?
They did, but it was all for fun, anything, to just give a laugh to the kids who come here.
Okay, any final thoughts?
Just like as we were talking about it, if Ray Rice or Joe Flacco could get a library card, you can too. Get carded.
All right, if a clown can have a card, you can have one too, folks.
Absolutely.
Well, and what do you want Baltimore to know about you?
Well, that hopefully every time you see me, you see my face and you think of the Pratt Library at the same time. Then that happens. It's funny thing is, despite I may joke about that, people will see me on the street. Oh, you're the guy who works at the library. Like who knew I'd be recognized for that? So
we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more of High on Baltimore. All right, welcome back to Eye on Baltimore. I'm John Carrington, and I have the pleasure of talking with Mr. Roswell Encina, who is the Director of Public Relations and Communications with the Enoch Pratt Free Library. Mr. Encina, you have some snail mail that you still send out. You have a monthly newsletter. Talk about that.
It's called our Compass. It comes out every 2 months. It pretty much highlights all the programs coming to the Pratt Library. So it tells you, when our Writers Live series are, our adult programming, our children's programming, our teen programming. So people still get that in the mail. If you have a library card, you should be receiving one. But we respect that people want to be more paperless. So we're telling folks, if you want to opt out of that, you could get an email version of it, or we'll send you a downloadable version that you could just check out online. But it's been very beneficial. I mean, we've gone through so many of our kind of ways of trying to promote the library, and I think even back in the day when the Central Library was built in the early 30s, promotion was already kind of like the number one kind of objective. If you notice, if you walk into the Central Library, we have those Cathedral Street windows, which look like department store windows. And that was the point of it, try to promote what's happening at the library, try to promote, try to be more partnering with the folks who are your neighbors and other nonprofits and other institutions in the city and help promote Baltimore that way too. And if you've also realized that the Central Library is one level, like if you go to other big main libraries in the country, like the New York Public Library or the Philadelphia Free Library, there's these kind of grand steps to walk into the front door. The purpose of this library, the Central Library, to make sure it's on the first level, so it feels more inviting. So it's not intimidating for the average person to be like, I don't want to walk in there because I've got, they don't want to be so intimidated by the the knowledge and the intellect in it. But when our ultimate goal is to get people in and use us and all the resources that's available for them.
What can our viewers do to help you get the word out?
Just please tell everyone that there's more to the Pratt Library that what you remember. We're more than just books. There's award-winning authors that come here regularly, almost once a week. And aside from that, there's free programs, from computer training to how to help you search a job, and all these other fun programs you may not even expect is happening at your local Pratt Library.
Okay, how long have you been here?
I've been here, I'm turning 6 years this March, so time flies when you're having fun. And I should say, through that 6 years, it's been an amazing. I can't even imagine all the. I can't. I'm just still bewildered of all the people I've met through this job. From the president to the vice president to Chris Matthews. It's been an amazing journey.
All right. Well, what has truly been the highlight for you?
Definitely. Several years ago, it's also a sad story. Senator Paul Sarbanes' wife, Christine Sarbanes, was on our board. She passed away. But just to show you how gracious the Sarbanes family is towards the Pratt, she wanted her public memorial service to be held in the main hall of the library. Obviously, the family had a private service, but that big service was when everybody from Washington was coming. We had senators from John Kerry to Vice President Biden here. The president couldn't be here that time. But it was one of those things we had to figure out how to seat everyone, because we had governors and ambassadors and senators and congressmen all coming. Despite such a sad occasion celebrating the life of Christine Sarbanes, it was such an amazing time. That's when you realize how the Pratt, how important it is to everyone.
Well, in the next 5 years, how will the communications department at the Enoch Pratt Free Library change?
We're hoping it changes like how libraries are changing as well. When I took this job 6 years ago, we were kind of playing along just with Twitter and Facebook, but now it's a major part of our our plan of promoting the library system. So who knows what happens in 5 years? It's obviously going to be more digital and more electronic, but hopefully we could keep up and people could keep up too.
All righty. Well, is there anything currently going on now that we need to know about?
We're very excited. We're very always proud of our Writers Live series. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor is going to be here on February 28th, with this obviously just a huge get for us. We're expecting hundreds and hundreds of people here. Our big, it's a good problem to have. We're nervous that we may have to turn people away because of the fire code of this building, obviously. But all these other programs, not only for adults, but for children and teens, and April's our fairy tale festival, that we have a month-long celebration for kids. You can't go anywhere else in the city and do all those free programs for free, and there's stuff going on all the time too.
Alrighty, and of course, we always need advice on visiting the library for the first time.
Absolutely.
What advice do you have?
Just come on in and get your library card. Get carded, as we say.
Well, I want to thank you for giving us this interview, and I want to thank you for watching Eye on Baltimore. I'm John Carrington, and this here is Mr. Roswell Encina, and he is the Director of Communications for the Enoch Pratt Free Library. I want to thank you for being a part of the show, and let's say goodbye to all those folks who have their eye on Baltimore. Bye-bye.
Bye.